and welcome to my book nook. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy Barton. I teach music and I also read books. I wouldn't even say that it's mainly thriller and horror anymore because I've been reading a lot of fantasy and romance lately. Honestly, I'll read any and every type of book. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, please like and subscribe to my channel down below. It really helps my channel grow. Also, I want to apologize in advance if you hear my son in the background. He is currently watching something in the same room as me because he wants to be in the same room as me, and so mom life, we're just gonna roll with it. In today's video, we have a bit of a book unhaul, and hopefully we will also have some good book buying juju as well. I am terrible at unhauling books because every book I buy, I go to look at it and I'm like, no, I'm gonna read that eventually. And then I realized, Rainy, you have hundreds of books. If TV wasn't a thing, you could be reading for at least like 4 or 5 years before you read every book on your shelves. And do you actually really want to get to every single book on your shelf? Probably not. So I was able to make myself unhaul 24 books. And that is a pretty big deal to me. So I'm gonna, in no order at all, just go through the books that I am unhauling. If there are any that you think I should keep at the end, let a girl know, but I'm probably unhauling them today. So I don't see us, I might be unhauling them in this video. So actually I'm gonna scratch that. But if there are any that you think I should give another chance, I'm fine in like getting them again at a thrift bookstore because most of these were heavily thrifted. So with that, let's talk about the books that I'm getting rid of for this unhaul. The first book I actually got from a publisher, and I got it for free, but I just don't want to read it. And I don't know, I feel like I probably should read it, but it's just not speaking to me at all. And that is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I've heard it's really, really good, okay? Twins, inseparable as children, ultimately choose to live in two very different worlds, one black and one white. And like I said, I've heard great things about this, but this is just not screaming to me to read. So hence I needed to get rid of it. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry. Then we have a book that I had to buy from the library because my son drew in it, like when he was really, really little. However, I don't really care to read it. And that's James Baldwin's If Beale Street Could Talk. And honestly, nobody's probably going to buy it, but I'm still going to try to get rid of it. And I think this one is told through the eyes of Tish, a 19-year-old girl in love with Fawny, a young sculptor who's the father of her child. They've pledged to get married, but Fawny's accused of a terrible crime and imprisoned. Their family set out to clear his name, and it's just all about that. I mean, it sounds good, and it's really short. It's like 160 pages, but I don't know. I just don't want to read it. But you know what? I might end up reading it because nobody won't buy this. But we gonna try our best. Then we have a book that I bought because I wanted to read from this author, but then I heard this book is not very good, and that the one book that is very good of theirs I already own. So I figured I'm not too interested in this author. I'll read the one other book. And I only got this book for $1. And that was The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney. I don't even really remember what this one is about. I think it says, please make a list of every possession you consider essential to your life. This request seems odd, even intrusive, and for the two women who answer, the consequences are devastating. I mean, I'm sure it's probably like a stand-up thriller, but like, I don't ever see myself getting to it soon. I don't know. I can't remember what its rating was on Goodreads, but we're just gonna get rid of it. Then, this was back when I decided I wanted to read Agatha Christie before I really knew if Agatha Christie was for me or not, and so I had started collecting her books. And so I got the first book in the Hercule Poirot detective series, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. And I will say I really love this rendition. Like, it's a very cute little rendition. However, I'm not interested in reading this at all because I read And Then There Were None, which you'll see in a minute probably, and I don't want it. I just don't. So, and that's all I'm going to say on that. She's just not for me. She's not my type of writing. She's not my cup of tea. I still do have one book by her, Murder on the Orient Express, because I do want to read that. Like, the most popular ones that are movies, I'll read, but this, not going to cut it. Then I have another author that I thought I'd be interested in reading. However, I've heard nothing about them. Maybe they were popular back in the times of Gillian Flynn, but I haven't heard of them as of recently, so I'm just not going to devote my time to reading them at this moment. And that is Good Girls Lie by J.T. Ellison. Pretty sure I also got this for like $1. I don't really know anything about her. Is she good? Is she not? Should I read this? I mean, I can buy it again. It's probably going to be there when I go back in like a month because this was here for years before somebody actually bought it. Hence me. But it's not speaking to me. Then we have one that I got as part of a book exchange, and it actually has a really high rating on Goodreads, but I am just not even a little interested in reading it because I have no idea who this author is. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes if I don't know who the author is, it deters me from the author. And that's I Am Watching You by Teresa Driscoll. A missing girl, a tormented witness, a web of lies, and someone is watching. And like I said, this has over a 4 star on Goodreads, which makes me think that I should read it, but I just don't. You can't force a girl to read something she's just not interested in, you know? Then we have a book that I bought at a thrift store because it was popular and it was on the Goodreads Thriller or Horror Choice Awards last year. However, upon reflecting, I'm not going to read this. In fact, I actually might give it to my dad because I think this is the type of book he would absolutely love. And that's Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Kismar. I don't see myself reading this. I heard it wasn't actually that good because it's supposed to be like real, but also fake, and like it like straddles the line in a weird way. I don't know. It's about like a mutilating boogeyman of some sorts, but you know, I'll never know because I'm not gonna read it. Then we have a book that I kept around specifically because I thought maybe I'd read it for my boy band's readathon, but I'm not. And am I still interested in reading it? Kind of, but do I think I'm ever gonna read it anytime soon in the next year, 2 or 3? Probably not. And that's A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. This one is about Benny Salazar, an aging former punk rocker and record executive, and Sasha, the passionate, troubled young woman he employs. Although they never discover each other's past, the reader does in intimate detail along with the secret lives of a host of other characters whose paths intersect with theirs over many years in locales as varied as New York, San Fran, Naples, and Africa. I'm not saying it's a bad book. I'm just not interested in it at this moment. And I paid 50 cents for this. 50 cents. I think it's okay to get rid of it. Then we have some books on my shelves that I have read, but I'm just not even a little bit interested in keeping because they all were 3 stars or less. The first one is Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. I wanted to keep this specifically because of the cover, because it is a stunning cover. Like, it really does stand out. But this book does nothing for me. I can hardly remember what happened in it. It was very boring. I didn't like its take on motherhood. And I think that's really all I need to put it to a new home. Of course, we also knew that this would be on the list because it was one of my least favorite books of last year, and that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I had originally wanted to keep it so that I could have all 3 books because I do own all 3 books. However, if I don't like a book, why is it sitting on my shelf? Why am I letting it take up space that I don't have, by the way? So we're getting rid of this. I am reading Magnolia Parks right now, which is a way better rendition of Normal People. I'm loving it 100 times more. And so I figure keep a book that I really love and get rid of a book that I really don't. And that feels good to me. Then here's our other lovely Miss Agatha Christie, and Then There Were None. I don't feel like I need to keep this. It was a 3 star. I'm not going to explain why it was a 3 star because I've already talked about it in a wrap up, but also I have a And Then There Were None retellings vlog coming out in March. And so it didn't work for me. Probably because it was spoiled by frickin' Peter Swanson. It's fine. I'm fine. We're fine. Then the next one we have, everybody really, really enjoyed. And it just didn't do it for me. Like, I think I gave it a 4 star, but honestly, I think I gave it a 4 star more out of, like, not wanting to disappoint people. And if I was really going to rate it myself, it'd be, like, a 3 or a 2. And I feel like that's a little embarrassing to say with this book because so many people in the horror and thriller community, like, stand by this book. And that's We Need to Do Something by Max Booth III. I read this. It's about a family that gets locked in a bathroom during a tornado and the apocalypse and all the crap goes wrong. This was not it. I did not like this book. It was just weird and I don't want to watch the movie and I didn't have fun with it. And that's it. That's all I will say. Then we have another book that I gave, I think, 3.5 stars. However, like, I don't need to keep it on my shelves. It just is what it is, you know? And that's The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I did like this book. There was just some things about it that didn't work for me. It was just average, and it is beautiful, but I don't think it needs to hang out on my shelves just because I think it's beautiful. Then we have a book that I hated. It was a 2 stars. Honestly, my mom is probably going to take it from me because my mom said, I get first pick at your book Unhaul. And I said, you won't make me lose money, Mom, because you're going to take like half my books. And that's The Island by Adrienne McKenty. I hated this. I hated this. I hated this. I know it works for some. I hated it. It was just way over the top, super dramatic. I hated our main character. I hated the whole premise of it. I hated it. And I didn't Unhaul the Chain because I've been wanting to read that. But everybody says The Chain, the first half is spectacular and the second half is awful. So maybe I should unhaul that too. Let a girl know in the comments below if I should unhaul The Chain as well. Up next, we have the only Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekinen book that I've read, and probably the only one that I will read, and that is The Golden Couple. Yeah. This book was a 3-star. It was very predictable, very boring. I didn't care for anybody in this book. I will say it did keep me invested at least. Like, I did want to see how it ended, but I couldn't have cared less about anything in this book. Hence, it goes goodbye. Then we also are getting rid of Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I only gave this a 3-star. It was just okay. Like, I've started reading the Veronica Speedwell series by her, and I am enjoying that. Not as much as I want to. I just think this author might not be for me in mystery-wise, but, like, not enough plot happened for this to be a 5-star. I mean, I really liked our characters, but are characters enough to give it a 5-star? Not these ones, at least. And that could be a hot take on this book. And then the last 2 books that I have that I read or attempted to read, this one I read and I absolutely hate this book. And it's the worst book that I've read this year, which actually I probably shouldn't unhaul it because I did read it this year and I want to keep all the books I read. But you know what? I'll borrow it from the library. And that is Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I hated this book. It was the first book I read this year, and it was awful. I feel like they were just scrounging for, like, some cool plot twist at the end, and it was not something that I wanted to be a part of. I know so many people loved this in Reading Riley's Midnight Society book club, but I hated it. I could not stand behind this. I need to get it off my shelves, and I am sad because this is honestly a stunning cover, but it does not need to live in my house. Last one that I have actually read, or I tried to read, and I DNF'd this book 3 times, and I figured third time has got to go, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And I know people are going to tell me, you are DNFing this and getting rid of it. What is wrong with you? You know what's wrong with me? Nothing. I tried 3 times. It's not for me. There are other people that stand by my decision and agree. So, you know, this book is for some. It's not for all. I'm not writing V.E. Schwab off as an author entirely. I'm just writing her off on this one. And then we have a couple of books left that I haven't got to as well, and I just don't want to. And the first one is Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. I believe I had a bunch of Colleen Hoover on my Amazon wish list, and I need to take them off. There's only a couple books I'm interested in. I thought originally I wanted to read her entire backlist, but that's before I actually explored the world of reading again. But I got this as a Christmas present because it was on my Amazon wish list, and so, it's from my mother-in-law, and I don't think she's going to see this. If she does, I still love that you bought me this. I don't want to read it. So, we're getting rid of it. We also have 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. I've heard The Hating Game. I mean, I read The Hating Game and loved it. I've heard this one is just whatever, not to waste your time on it. And so, I'm not going to waste my time on it. Plus, I'm not that big into contemporary romance anymore. Like, I'll read it, but, like, this is just not needing to last on my shelves anymore. Then we have Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. And this one does interest me. It says, found family worth crossing the universe before. Apparently it has queer alien courtship. Like, it looks cute, but I just don't see myself reading this anytime soon. Honestly, I see my brother seeing this and saying, oh, I want this. And so it'll probably go to my brother, and I hope that he loves it. But this is just not for me. And apparently I have an ARC version, so that's cool. Then we have Dune by Frank Herbert. And I do love this version of the cover, but I'm never going to read this book. I'm not. I don't know why I'm trying to convince myself that I'm going to be a sci-fi girly and read Dune when we all know I'm not going to read Dune. So why am I keeping this on my shelf? I don't know. Especially the fact that the dictionary in the back is like over like 40 pages. I'm like, no fam. No, fam. Then we have some Chuck Palahniuk books because I do want to do a taste test on him. However, I started ended up collecting all of his books and I was like, girl, you're not even interested in all of his books. Why are you collecting them all? I don't know. So I'm getting rid of Survivor. It's like an airplane survivor story. I'm not interested in it at all. It doesn't sound good. I don't know why I bought it. However, all of his books I bought for like $2, $3 and less. So it's not that big of a loss. And then I'm also getting rid of The Invention of Sound. This one, I don't know. The cover's cool, but the premise just doesn't really speak to me either. And so I figure I don't need to keep it around my house. And that's all the books that I'm going to be unhauling. So now I'm going to go to the bookstore. I'm going to sell them with my mom because my mom's in town this weekend, so that's fun. And we're going to see if I get any books back in return, and then I will add that clip to the end of this. And then we'll see, but those are all the books I'm unhauling. Hello, friends. Sorry for my terrible hair and for this bad angle, but this is the only spot in the car where I could get the phone to sit up properly. So this is where we're going to stick it. So I did get some books. I got rid of 23 books and I bought 5 in return. So I got rid of 19 books in my library. I think that's a pretty big win. And I did get some buyback store credit. So I only I did have to pay like $20 still for these 5 books, but that's because one of these books was full price. But I've been wanting this book for forever, and I finally was just like, whatever, you're buying it. But it is what it is. So, I got Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I've been wanting to read this for literally forever, and so I decided I am going to finally do it. It says this one is, no one would suspect shy Lily Calloway's biggest secret. While everyone's dancing at college bars, she stays in the bedroom to get laid. Her compulsion leads her to one-night stands, steamy hookups, and events she shamefully regrets. Lauren Hale's best friend is his bottle of bourbon. Lily comes a close second. For 3 years, they've pretended to be in a real relationship, hiding their addictions from their families. But as they sink beneath the weight of their addictions, they cling harder to their destructive relationship and wonder if a life together for real is better than a lie. So it's about someone addicted to alcohol and someone addicted to sex. I'm intrigued. My sister said that entire series is good, so I will believe her. Then I got Vicious, which is the first book in the Vicious and the Villains universe by V.E. Schwab. This was only $4, and I almost didn't buy it because I have the second book, a signed copy of it, but it's hardcover. But this was $4, and I really wanted to read this series soon, so I just went for it. It says this one, as Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognized the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. So that sounds interesting. I will give it a chance. This one I've been seeing come up everywhere lately, Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson, and so I figured I had to get it. I'm pretty sure it's about these 2 girls that are best friends in boarding school, and then something happens and one of them has to leave unexpectedly, and they don't talk for 10 years, and then the other one asks her to move in with her as like a caretaker for her step twins that are having to move in with her, but they spontaneously combust into flames, and it's like their whole like story of that. I don't know. But the cover alone is entertaining to me, and I've seen like 3 booktubers talk about it in the last like couple months saying that it's great. So I went for it. And then the last 2 were total impulses, and that is Wait for You and Be With Me by Jennifer L. Armentrout. That's the woman that wrote the From Blood and Ash series. Apparently she wrote like romances before that. And this is the first 2 books in that series. And so I figured I would go for it. I'm not going to read what they're about. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm going to give them a try. See if her romance could be for me, because her fantasy is. I think these might even be YA romance, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that regard. But they were there, and they were like $5 a piece. So I went for it. So that is my little haul of 5 books, and I still got rid of 19. So, I would say that's a win. And I think we're going to call this video a wrap. So I unhauled some books. I got some books. We had a great time. And with that, I will see you guys in another video super soon. Bye.